In this video, I will show you how to easily build and deploy a REST web service using Linx. So let's get started. I'm going to create a REST web service in my Linx application, which will contain multiple endpoints and methods relating to customer management. We will focus on the customer operation that will receive a GET request containing an account ID as a parameter. A process will then be triggered which will search a database for a customer account record that matches the account ID passed in. And when a record is found, the details of the account will be returned in the response. In my existing application, I have a number of processes that perform different functions, one of them being the process that queries the database for an account record, called getCustomerRecord. To host a REST web service, I will use the REST plugin and add it to my application. The plugin contains all high-level functions and services related to REST web services. This includes a function that enables you to call REST web services, as well as the services to host them. I'm going to add the REST host service to my application. I will now create the base object of our API. First, we need an Open API 3 definition for our REST API. This describes the API structure in terms of methods, requests, responses, and more. I'm using the Swagger editor for the structure I want to create. You can easily import this definition into Linx. As I import this, Linx automatically constructs a web service from the definition that was added, along with the endpoints and parameters. When a GET request is executed against the getCustomer endpoint, we want to get a customer account record from the database and return the record in the response. To do this, we can simply drag on our getCustomerFromDatabase process into the endpoint. When the endpoint is called, the getCustomerFromDatabase process will be triggered, allowing the process to be remotely executed. This process takes an account ID as an input parameter. We can configure this input by selecting the ID passed in with the request in the dropdown. When the process runs, it will search the database and return a matching record. You can set the response of the request by selecting the output from the database process. To test it out, I'll use the Linx built-in debugger. In debug mode, I can view what data is being returned by each function, process, or operation. As you can see, the getCustomerFromDatabase process has returned the customer account record matching the input ID. The customer account is then set as the response of the endpoint. Testing complete, I am ready to deploy my application. Linx applications are hosted on the Linx application server. Once deployed, I can navigate to the server dashboard, locate the REST web service, and activate it. To test if it is all working correctly, I'll use a browser to execute a request against the endpoint with the input parameters in the URL. You can see the customer account being returned in the response from Linx. On the Linx application server dashboard, the events that have occurred are visible, and I can see the requests received on each of the endpoints. And that's that, an end-to-end web service in under 5 minutes. For a more in-depth view of building and hosting web services, visit linx.software.